sent my family back to Kosovo in 2000. I went for a trial at that time in Paris with Paris Saint-Germain. The trial went well, and then I started. And the problem we had, like most of the kids that were willing and to play with for Albania, was kids from not born in Albania, not having the Albanian passport. Being there for the first time, for some of the players, they were very tense and very nervous. And it's so like in the first 10-15 minutes, like it was not the normal Albania we were seeing. We were not conceding a lot of goals. We conceded a goal after 10 minutes in the set pieces, and I had the difficult choice: stop the ball before it getting in the box, or maybe let him shoot and make it 2-0. And I had to choose it. At that time, I preferred to stop the ball. Ronaldinho.
Whew, okay, that was the easy one. That was quick.
When he was fit, he had that power, strength, technical quality. He was just different. Like, he was unstoppable. He was amazing. Everything had one purpose: to give you the possibility to make that passion your job.
Hello everyone, welcome to the special edition of the Coach Gerald Lami podcast. Myself, Gerald Lami. Today I'm joined by an icon, a legend, someone that, myself growing up I looked up to. He's played for some illustrious clubs around the world, such as PSG, Marseille, Sunderland, Galatasaray, Lazio and Nantes. He made 92 appearances for our Albanian national team. He's still making an impact as a current grassroots ambassador for children's football in Albania. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the one and only Lorik Cana. Welcome, Lorik. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
It's a great pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you very much. Thank you. How have you been during this time before we get into the podcast? How have you and your family been? Of course, we've been in quarantine. How's things with you guys?
Well, actually, yes, we were. I'm living with my family in Rome, so we've been one of the first being in quarantine. Like Italy has been the first, let's say, European country impacted by the coronavirus situation, and for sure, like in the beginning, the first days of March, we were being in quarantine, and it has been like really locked down for up to 10 weeks, and then now we are starting a little bit, being able to move a little bit and turning to kind of normal life, but still with a lot of precautions. And it has been tough because, like, for the whole time, as Albanians, we are a little bit spread around the world. So I have some families in Kosovo. I have some families in France, and like my parents. I have a little girl. She was born in January. Oh, wow. And they saw her like in the first days, and then they just came and visited us last week after nearly 5 months. So. But well, trying to manage as well as we can, and the good thing is I'm able to manage my schedule. I can work by distance. I can work on Zoom. I can work in many ways, and which it makes it easier. But still, at one point we're gonna have to try to come back in kind of normal life.
Yeah, hope so. But good to hear that everyone's okay, and congratulations on the little one as well.
Yep, well, that's the second one, the little boy, and that's the little girl now. Yeah, sure. that's been. I mean, for us, it has been the best. I mean, in terms of timing, it has been the best moment. If you are able, like, to have a child, and being able to stay with your child 24/7 for like 2, 3, 4 months, I think there is nothing more you can ask.
No, for sure. Before we move on, we spoke a little bit about, it's quite embarrassing that I'm not able to speak Albanian as much, I would love to again, but again, yeah, we'll do it in English. I'm sure we'll probably have more listeners anyway to listen in English also. But yeah, thank you again. But before we get into your wonderful career that you had as a player, what we usually do is in a show is just to kind of give a background of where you've come from. Of course, I know myself, the history, a lot of the Albanians and Kosovan heritage of, like you said, we've spread it around. Just give us a little, context of how you grew up, where you grew up, what was that like? What was your experience like?
I will turn 37 in the end of July. Like I'm Albanian from Kosovo. As we know, like we have been part before of Yugoslavia, and then I come from like a typical Albanian, let's say, background. All my family is Albanian. We are from a town. It's not a small town, but it's a town called Jakova. I was born in Pristina, in the capital of Kosovo, and then I grew up in following a little bit my father, because my father was a former professional football player, like very very well known in Kosovo. He played in Turkey, he played in Croatia with Dinamo Zagreb, he played in Austria, and we've been following him. I've been growing up in Kosovo until the age of 7. I started school in Kosovo, and then when the first conflict in Yugoslavia started in 1990, my father went to Switzerland to end up his career, and he took us from with him, and we started. Then we left as a refugee, and I grew up after for nearly 10 years in Switzerland, in the French region of Switzerland called Lausanne. I've been there, and I started to play football, I say in clubs, in teams in Switzerland. Like I've been nearly like pushed by my father, like to try to follow his path, and then I starting to keep playing, and I grew up all this time in Switzerland until the year 2000, when then my family had to go back, because the refugee status didn't have sense anymore. So they sent my family back to Kosovo in 2000. I went for a trial at that time in Paris with Paris Saint-Germain. The trial went well, and then I started let's say my career in Paris. I started with the youth team. I finished my academy in Paris, started with the youth team 2 years, and then turning professional at the age of 19. I was in 2003. I was not even 20, and then everything started in Paris, and then I had the career I had until I stopped it in 2016 after the European Championship in France.
No, it's interesting. It's interesting what you said in terms of, you know, your family going back, and you went on to go into Paris. Now, a lot of people think, you know, footballers, you've got everything, you know, you live a good lifestyle, but people don't understand the sacrifices that you have to make along the way. Now, you've had to split from your family. What was that like, going to Paris? Probably didn't have anyone around you like that was family. That must have been really tough for you. How did you manage that situation?
Well, I think, you know, everyone has a different path. Everyone have a different history in his life, and especially we can see, like, in every moment we are living in our society, you can see, like, countries when they are in tough times, in difficult situation, with conflicts, with wars, and with refugees, and it's still very actual what's going on around the world. And we have been one of the late, let's say, part of the European region when we've been directly had a history with a conflict, and like all this makes you, let's say, gives you like this kind of lesson in your life when you're trying to learn as quick as possible, and you learn a lot of things, which is like the importance of being with your family, and the importance of being with the people you love, and trying to help each other. And then when you might say, when my dad, like, he saw something on me, so it's like, if he works hard with me, I think he thought I will be able to do something as a football player, and turn professional as well. So in the moment, like, we were living for 10 years as a refugee in Switzerland, like, it wasn't an easy time, because for sure we are living in Switzerland, one of the, like, healthiest country in the world. I mean, in the other part, you're not able to go back and see your family, and your family is not able to come and see you. So we were just my parents, and at that time I had only one sister, And but you're see, like, if you do things well, and all, let's say, the hopes like the family has on your shoulder,
Yes.
might turn in a big pressure, but all the
Mm-hmm.
time it's a big motivation as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the luck to have my dad, which was like my friend, my dad, my trainer, my counselor, like everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I had this opportunity, then in 98, 99, the conflict started in Kosovo, and that was like the most difficult time of our
Mm-hmm.
lives, because we were in Switzerland. We didn't know what was happening with our family. They were spread all over the region.
Mm-hmm.
Some were staying in Kosovo, some went to Albania, some went to Macedonia
Mm-hmm.
at that time. And when everything finished up, then I was doing well as a young kid in football, and I had this opportunity to do that trial. And as you know, I wasn't able. We weren't able at that time to go out of Switzerland because of the refugee status.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this invitation from Paris, and like we organized it, everything, and I passed the border without any papers.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
lucky they didn't catch me, but at that time I was only 16, and I knew like that will be maybe my one chance in
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
because like we knew like they're gonna send us back to Kosovo.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you were in Kosovo in the year 2000, after the conflict, I wasn't at that time. It was nearly impossible, like, to make
Yeah.
an international career, because
Yeah.
like you're not able to go out. You're not able to. You have to stay in Kosovo. The facility conditions, coaches, infrastructure wasn't in good level, and
Mm-hmm.
sport wasn't the priority. And so I know that's going to be one of my chance in life, and I have to take it. So I was
Mm-hmm.
lucky. I was lucky they didn't check me in the border, and someone put me on the train in Lyon, and
Wow.
then someone waited for me. Someone waited for me in Paris, and I was there. I had like 10 days to show
Mm-hmm.
what I can do, and if I deserve to stay with the kid of Paris Saint-Germain. And the trial went well.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time they sent my parents and my young sister back in Kosovo after the
Mm-hmm.
war. And then I stayed. The trial went very well, and they made all my papers and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was able to stay and play with the youth team of Paris, with the second team. And at what time it turned off the question, like, to make the papers for my parents,
Yeah.
to make them come in France, and it wasn't easy. So it took them like nearly 6 to 8 months
Wow.
for them to come. But I was well. Like, I know this is a one-time opportunity, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to take it. And things went well. So, but yeah, it was pretty an incredible journey.
Mm-hmm.
Like like that trip might change your life, and
Yeah.
you have to be lucky, and you have to be prepared. But for sure, it might go in different ways.
Mm-hmm. You just speaking just brought back so much memories to me, like, and my journey with my family when we moved to London, and it's like you said, going from train, hoping that they'll let you in and all these things. Because before that, my dad tried to go, I think it was America. They sent him back halfway because he didn't have the papers. But so yeah, it's like what you said, that anxiety as a 16-year-old, it must have been so high for you to go to Paris and get this contract. Because again, I remember, when we did eventually go to London, we couldn't go back. My grandma passed away, and for my dad, that was like heartbreaking for him that he couldn't go back to bury his mother. And for us, we
Mm,
saw the pain that he was going through. Now, for me, I was playing at the time, I was playing for Northampton Town. For me, it was like so much pressure that I wanted to make it. I needed to make it. I needed to make it into football because of all the sacrifices that my family's made. And like you said, it's like, it can be a motivation, but for a lot of people, it can be, like you said, it can go left or right. Now, for you, you said it was motivation for yourself, and you've had your dad that's played football. He's had a professional career. he was your coach when you was younger as well, when you was in Switzerland. How much pressure, again, was that for you? Like, and anxiety levels must have been so high for you. How did you control that?
Well, that was, I think that was actually like one of the main reason I turn up like the kind of not only the kind of player but the kind of person I later became, because as you say, like you see like all your nearly all your the let's say expectations and the way to achieve something and to have a better future, everything it's on your shoulder. But when you're a kid, I mean, it might be very, very tough, like to have all this weight on your in your shoulder, because like my family were sacrificing and everything when we were in Switzerland. I remember like they were working hard and trying to give me the best possibilities to actually, because they were like all their hopes and all their future was like on me. But my father was pretty sure, like if I don't have an injury or something, I will make it. But then we were not sure like how it's going to turn up with the papers and with the refugee status. So we just said like we're going to have to be prepared, and if we have that chance, you're gonna try to give your best and see what's going on. Because like if they had checked me in the border at that time, I was back in Kosovo, and I was having a completely different life. But as I told you, this way of having this pressure, I was like used to it, because my dad put a lot of pressure on me, like since I was a very little kid, 8, 9, 10. Of course, he was very hard, very tough on me, but I knew like it's for my benefit. And so the first thing I've been trying to work hard and do the best as I can to make him proud. And then for sure, when I was turning and a little bit growing and understanding how life goes a little bit more, and what we are living, the situation what we are, the situation our people are living back in our country. So it started then you started to understand your role and what they are expecting of you. And this might be like goes in different ways, but I had this strong character, this strong mental, and I think that's what made difference at the end, and what gave me that push and that motivation to make it happen, instead of being having the fear not to make it, and kind of letting down my family, all the people that were waiting for me back in the country as well. Even when you're a young kid, you're never like gonna let you down your family, because you're normally, when you're 5, 15 or 16, it's not your duty to support your family. But I saw like that was a one-time shot nearly. And because if you were able to stay in Switzerland, you could have 2, 3 more opportunities play in Switzerland, which is an amazing place. I was very lucky to grow up as a kid in Switzerland, because the football academies are fantastic. And but I knew like they're gonna send us back, and then I thought like all that dream would have like just vanished. But at the end, I ended up in Paris, and I saw many other kids in the same kind of situation, because like in the youth team we were around 30, and we were living together the first year, because I was still in the academy before turning 18. So when I was like 17, we were living together in the academy, and I saw like many kids from Maghreb, so many kids from Senegal, many kids from Ivory Coast, coming then, having all their family back in Africa, everyone like praying for them, because they can change their life actually. And so when I found myself, the only difference like is they were from Africa, I was from Europe, and it was strange for them to see the kind of reality, like a European guy might be refugee and might look after the family back in the country. They thought like it was specific from Africa, but I had the opportunity. I was very well accepted, and I had an amazing time as a kid. And we learned from each other. I learned from the guys from the Maghreb. I learned from the guys from Ivory Coast, Senegal, and I think and it made it was even more difficult because when you go to a big club like that, it's very tough to make it to the first team. So you know better than me. Sometimes you have to go to a smaller club which has an amazing academy and to make your path. In the years 2000, the club had a little bit 30 years of history, and the players from the academy making it to the first squad was like counting in one hand. A lot of them made an international career and professional career in other clubs, but we were all fighting for our chance, and I remember it was a great time.
No, for sure. I'm just trying to picture myself in that situation, and like you said, it's a lottery ticket at the end of the day to make it a professional, especially at a club like PSG, is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Now, for you, when they said, "Lorik, we're going to sign you," what did you feel like there was a bit of pressure gone from you, or did you think this is only the start now? I need to keep going.
Oh no, I knew like I knew at that time. I knew like I'm gonna have my chance, and I knew like if I work hard, I'm gonna make it, and I knew that it's not gonna be easy to make it to the first team with Paris Saint-Germain, but I was pretty sure like I'm gonna have like in my let's say my journey as a kid, I had a fantastic teaching, learning, and performing in Switzerland, but I needed something more like to play at a higher level. And I think I went in France in the right age. I was 16, not even 17. I turned 17 after a couple of months, and then those 2 years in the academy in Paris like made me like much more stronger, and then I knew like I'm gonna have my chance in the professional football. If it wasn't in Paris, it's gonna be somewhere else. But I didn't have anymore that problem of papers and that problem of being able to stay in Europe and play in Europe. I had only one condition for them, for the club. Like say, okay, like you're giving me this opportunity. I just need my family here because like I was still a kid. I was just like 17 at that time I turned. And I said, okay, I'm going to stay, but I need my family. So the club made everything. And I tried to, let's say, pay back the trust and the confidence of the club, which wasn't easy to go all after these paper issues and fight to get me there, because they had a lot of players. They could have like choose other players to make it much easier and say, okay, Lorik, it's going to be tough. So we prefer to let you go and say so. That was a coach, which was a coach of the second team, who later became the coach of the first team, a very well-known international called Antoine Comboiré. He was the coach, and so he pushed very hard with the club and with the board of directors of the club, and to make it happen. They brought my family, and then after I had only one thing: to keep working hard, and I knew like I'm gonna have my chance.
No, for sure. And just again, like your story kind of, like you said, it builds you as a character. Now, wherever you've gone, you've literally been captain. You've been captain of the Albanian national team. Most clubs that you've been at, you've been a captain. You know, you as a player, you're a strong player. You're very resilient as a player. Now, to make it at the highest level, you have to have some sort of an elite mindset. For you, when you hear the term elite mindset, what comes to mind?
Well, I think elite mindset, I think just about being able, and I take the word in this case of the specific of football. I'm not going to go too wide about explaining what it means to me. If we stay in the world of football, elite mindset means give yourself the best chance to do what you love.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say elite mindset, it is like everything what you do every day as a young kid, and then later on, it's everything. It's had one purpose: to give you the possibility to make that passion your job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm saying that because tens of millions, hundreds of millions kids want to be able to make that dream happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why this is the magical of football. Sometimes we have this, especially now lately in the society, like many people like are talking like the numbers and the economics and the money turn which is around football is so big.
Yeah.
And people like sometimes say why footballers has to earn so much money. It's just because hundreds of millions of people have that passion, and they are the ones to make dream the others. And when you want to reach that, you must have that elite mindset, because it's so hard to make it to that level. Like if you starting to let yourself down a little bit and not give you the best possibilities, then I can ensure you're not going to make it. And if the only ways you make it professional, if you must be so good, like if even if you don't do your best, but you're too good, but still you're not going to make it. You're maybe going to turn to, you're maybe going to make it maybe professional, but you're not going to make it career. I can assure you. And the thing is, it's during all the years you're able to practice sport and practice football, it gives you one of the best lessons in your life, especially in the terms of growing. It gives you not only in ways of health and having activities, but in the ways of having the self-confidence, learning to work with the others, trying to put your goals, reaching those goals, and even when you lose, go back and start to do it again. This is the best lessons you can get in your life as a kid. And even if you don't turn professional, you're gonna learn so much things. Is gonna be so helpful for your life. But then professional is something else, and professional, when you turn professional, then this is you just live with that, you breathe with that, you eat with that, you sleep with that. If you don't do it, then you're gonna reach your best. And I think there is not a lot of players which actually plays, but like the best ones, the best ones I played with as a kid, was a young lad, the best ones actually, the top 3 ones did make it professional. Some was because of injuries, some others because they didn't have that elite mindset, because like they thought they're going to be good enough. That's not the chance of my life, or it was not a passion enough, like to make it at that level. It's gonna be your passion. If it's not your passion, you're not gonna have that voice in your head pushing you all the time to do the best. And this is the elite mindset.
No, for sure. I agree with you. But, you know, if someone turns around and says to you, Lorik, I work hard every single day, I do the right things, I eat, I do my best. Now, for you, like that journey where you said you went to Paris and you didn't have the papers, but they let you in. What is that in your eyes? Is that luck? Is that God? What is that? Do you believe that there's luck that plays into someone becoming a professional footballer?
Luck, for sure, a lot. You know, myself, I believe a lot in God, absolutely. But I think, you know, I think we are not here as a human being. We are not here about to judge what kind of life we have, or to judge what kind of situation God put us through. It's how we react and what we do. This is the most important, because we don't know why we are in this situation. We don't know why he chooses this path for us. We are just in front of many choices, many situations, many people, many great moments, many tough moments, and what makes difference in how you react and how you act in these situations. And you try to do the best. Of course, I believe, I'm a believer. I believe a lot of God, and I think it's an important thing in life because it gives you the right values and the right way to let's say to make your life. But the thing is, especially when you're in a difficult situation, in tough times, at that time, if you don't do your best, for sure you're not going to do it. So maybe some others have the choice, have the possibility to fail once, fail two times, fail three times, and they have the credit to keep pushing forward. I was more in the situation like you have to do your best. I mean, you have to do whatever you can, control yourself, give whatever you have to give, show whatever you have to show, because if you don't do it, for sure it's not going to work. So, but then I think when you pass that difficult time, I think you are a little bit more prepared than maybe a lot of other people.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's interesting. It's a very interesting topic. But if we go on to the amount of players that Albania or Kosovan Heritage, for me, they're both the same, Albania and Kosovo. And I know, they have the different separation now, but for me, it's all one. We've got a lot of players that have gone on to play for, the likes of Switzerland and various other countries. Why do you think those players have taken that choice rather than to play for Albania like you did?
I think, as you know, like every history and everyone has his own history and for sure make his own choice. But as I have to say, like after the 90s, myself and maybe 2-3 before me were one of the first Albanian, let's say, players playing in important leagues, or being able maybe to reach the important leagues. I had some of my former teammates playing in Germany, and some of started to play a little bit in Italy and France a little bit. But the thing, we were like just a few. I think in myself, because I'm gonna try to speak for myself. Myself was just I saw it more something I needed to do. Like if I was able to turn as professional, trying to do something back for my people, like country, and like represent them, and being able to wear the jersey with our national flag on it, especially as Kosovo Albanians, was something special. And I think I was one of the first. I think I was the third Albanian from Kosovo playing for the national team. We had the goalkeeper Becha. We had the Besnik Hasi, which was the player from Anderlecht, the former coach of Anderlecht, which is now in Saudi Arabia. And I was the third. And I think being able to not only represent your country, but do your international duty and give a message about union of our people around the flag and around the national team. It was something, like I said, if I will good enough, and if I turn professional, I think this is the choice I'm going to make, and there is no other choice. But everyone has different path, and this was mine. But I grew up in Switzerland. If you see the Swiss national team, like at one point nearly half of the team were Albanian. And the thing that was my battery. And the thing is whatever you do as an Albanian, being able to play and practice football, you're always going to be one of the best ambassadors you can for your country and for your community as well. So if we take what we achieved with the Albanian national team, not only inside about bringing all the Albanians around the world and around Albania, but as you know, like our political situation in the region, we have half of the population in Albania and the other half living around Albania, not counting hundreds of thousands of Albanians around the world, which is Swiss, Germany, France, Italy, UK. Belgium and all Greece. But being able to do that, you give that message about union, but most of it you're able to show outside, like we have qualities and we are talented people.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think sports and football give you this possibility to be one of the best ambassadors of your country, and there is no doubt of it. And the story shows it. The other side, when you are part in a country which you grew up, and now a lot of were born in Switzerland, but when you grew up in Switzerland and you moved as a kid, and you're able with sports to be an ambassador of your community in this country, which actually gives you the possibility to make you a brighter future for you, for your family, for your community. Because in Switzerland, example, we are nearly 300,000 Albanians, which we are the third community, I think, after the Italian and the Portuguese. Being able to show like you're giving your contribution as Albanians for Switzerland, this is something incredible as well. And I think a lot of the people thinking and the image of the Albanian community in Switzerland changed a lot because of all these Albanians representing Switzerland and giving their contribution for Switzerland, kind of repaying Switzerland for the possibility they have to have a future, which was tough back in our country at that time. And I think in both situations, it's a huge contribution. It's a huge thing, like the sports and football has been made for all these different athletes. In the other side, for me, it was completely different. I didn't see myself playing for another nation that was Albania. When I say Albania, I say more about the Albanian people and not just Albania as we see Albania. And that was for sure the proud of all my life.
No, for sure. I remember growing up, because you was like, again, you, Besnik Kasi, who else? I think Lala, you guys were playing in the biggest leagues in the world. Now, for me, seeing you guys, and like same thing like you said, my family moved to London. For me, it was a thing where if I did make it, who would I pick? I always said Albania because of the likes of you guys. Now, did you ever have the likes of maybe Jacko or Shaqiri or anyone like that give you a call and say, Lorik, what do you think we should do? Should we stay in Switzerland or should we play for Albania? Did you ever get those phone calls?
I had some, because like being one of the first and playing in top international level, because I started with Paris, then I was Marseille, and for sure a lot of kids like were trying to get that path and trying to reach the same thing. And then until 2011, we had a kind of papers problem as well, because that was the FIFA regulation, which is you can change your national team until you don't play for the first team. But in the moment you've made your choice as a kid, you must have both passports. And the problem we had, like most of the kids that were willing and to play for Albania was kids from not born in Albania, not having the Albanian passport. They were from Kosovo or the former Yugoslavian passports, Macedonia, Serbian passport, Kosovo passport, Montenegro later on. And we didn't have the possibility to bring them. And I remember that time before the first case, because we put the first case in the court, when we say, okay, they didn't have the passport when they were kids and when they choose, but they are all Albanian roots. They have all Albanian parents, and in the history we were not able to have the Albanian passports. So the first player who won that court, let's say that as a case, was Mijan Basha, the former player from Torino, which is in Austria now. And when they gave him the possibility to represent Albania, because he was playing for the youth teams of Switzerland, and then it made it possible then for all the others to get it. And before him, I had the possibility uh, as myself to speak with some of the players, and one of them was Granit Xhaka from Arsenal. And Granit Xhaka, before his brother Taulan,
Yeah.
Granit Xhaka, actually, we were on the call, and he said, I want to come and join the Albanian national team and play for the Albanian national team. And at that time, it wasn't possible at that time for him to come, because he was playing for Switzerland. He made it until world champion with the U17 of Switzerland in 2009.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Okay, I want to go and represent the nation of when I was born, and with the nation of my parents and everyone." And we tried it to make it with the Albanian FA, but we didn't make it until 2011, 2012 with the lawyers and everyone. So at that time, Granit, after made the choice, when he saw like it wasn't possible to play for Albania, he made the choice to keep representing Switzerland. And I think he has made an amazing contribution for Switzerland as well, being one of the most important players and having this important international career. So this was one of my close contacts. And for the others, no, I didn't have others on the phone. I had some of which later on came to play for Albania. But in the case for a player who wanted to play for Albania and didn't make it, it was on the Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, it's a shame, because I look at the heritage of Albanian and Kosovo players around the world. I'm thinking if we had that team, it would be really, really good. But again, I'm sure there's a lot of young talent coming through the ranks at the moment anyway. So we're in good hands. And you do a lot of, like, you're doing an ambassador role as well for the grassroots in Albania. What does that entail? What do you do?
Well, grassroots ambassador is just trying to promote football in the non-professional world, mostly to the kids. So trying to let's say encourage kids to be part of football, and working with the Albanian FA about making it possible to the kids to have the possibility to play in football, which in our country I think is the most important and most difficult things, because we don't have the same infrastructure that we have in other countries in the Balkan or in Europe or in the UK or anywhere else, when you don't have as much football grounds, or when you don't have as much let's say organizations and coaches and leagues and everything to make it let's say to give you the possibility to be involved in sports. So this is the most important, trying to make programs in the schools, helping kids to being able to play football in the schools, to be being able to play football in the kindergartens, to being able to, let's say, to be interested in sports and be involved in this fantastic world. And I think it's an important duty. And I started even my own non-profit foundation 3 years ago, the Lorik Cana 5 Foundation, which is exactly what I'm doing with the foundation. I'm trying to involve kids as much as I can in sports in general, but in football as well. But in sports, especially working on the kids very young, 3 to 7 in the kindergarten. We are trying to build them sport facilities, trying to bring them the coaches, the programs, which actually kids can practice sports every day in their kindergarten. And mostly this is part of the, let's say, of the role. And I take it with a great pleasure. And I think we have a long way to go, because like mostly in our countries, the only way a young kid make it happen as a career, he just see the first opportunity to go out of Albania, or I think the moment we're going to be able to say we did something right in Albania, in Kosovo or Macedonia or everywhere else, is when we see like most of the national team, the kids has been maybe growing back in our country. Because now so far Albania, it's starting to be a little bit better, but like Kosovo has an amazing team as you see, but 95% of them are kids we grew up outside. So of course they are doing an amazing, this is exactly what we do with Albania, but they are doing an amazing thing about representing Kosovo. They are fantastic players, amazing talented, but the moment when we're going to give the same chances to the kids back in Kosovo or in Albania to have the same infrastructure, the same program, the same coaches, then we achieve something very special.
No, for sure. And it's amazing to see that, you know, someone like at your caliber is making such a huge impact, because it's needed in the country for sure. I remember I went back to try and play there, and it was just, yeah, it wasn't the same as Europe at all. But do you think, you definitely need others to support you along the way? Do you feel like other players are supporting enough to doing what you're doing at the moment?
Well, I told you I'm in this path back in our country. I'm one of the first, let's say, trying to do something like as a contribution for the society and for the kids and for the values of sport. But a lot of former players has been helping a lot, like sending funds for the materials. Let's say being ambassadors of some teams or some communities or some cities, everyone which is originated from a city, trying to help the municipality there, trying to give them a possibility to have materials, to have balls, to have like the basic you need to play, because the magic of sport and the football is pretty easy to play. They'll give the ball, you have 2 goals, and you just play. But if you want to do it a little more organized and better facility, and to make it, let's say, kids improve even better, that it takes a lot. But I think this is my duty as a former international player and captain of the national team, like trying to push as hard as we can to focus on the grassroots football. And this is going to be the challenge for the next 10 to 20 years back in our country.
No, for sure. You know, again, you're doing great, amazing work. And if there's any way that I can also contribute, I'll be more than happy to, because that's something I've always wanted to do. You know, come back, give back as well. You know, whether it will be coaching, whether it will be just anything. So it's inspiring, and I'm sure there's other people that I'm sure you're going to inspire others once they finish their careers, maybe just to do more for the country. So it takes the first person to do it, and then it's a domino effect after that. So salutes to you.
Thank you.
But so we'll get back into a little bit of the football. You know, we finally made it to a major competition, which I never thought we'd ever make it. But it was amazing just to see us in that sort of competition, and for the world to kind of see the talented players that there is in Albania, the sort of the heritage of us as well, and the amount of people that are around the world that are from Albania. What was that like for you? That must have been one of your most proudest moments to have made it into the Euros? Just speak to us about just the journey of it, you know, the time being there, what you guys learnt, and how we can move forward, you know, with that experience.
Well, I think it was definitely something amazing, because like most of the people that thought like they were thinking of Albania or in Albania international football, it was one of the, let's say, weakest sides in Europe, and we had some amazing player in the past, but really like international players, but never, like, it was a long time ago and nobody heard of them. Like, just to remember, like, we had 2 Albanian players from Kosovo playing for the Albanian national team back in the 50s. And both of them turned about being some of the best striker of the best Italian sides. One of them turned out to be one of the best goal scorer of Juventus, called Riza Lushta. And the other one was Naim Cruzio, who turned out to win the first league title for Roma in the 50s. But then nothing, because we had the history when Albania was like this tough dictature, very closed. We had some players like Panoja Pano, which everyone say was a genius player, an amazing player, but they didn't have opportunity to make it outside. But our recent history really started after the 90s, and the national team started after the years 2000, and then I started this journey in 2002, 2003. But more as an opportunity for the national team to be a symbol of union of our people, and I think I was pretty sure just to be able just to reach that goal, that the national team can represent the values of our people and can unite of people which were never united as a country. And this is what that was our greatest, let's say, our greatest proud, being able to play as Albanians wherever you were in Albania or around Albania, being able to play for the same flag. And that was something amazing. I think the message the Albanian national team sent was very important. Like, we want to be one. We are all Albanians. We want to be together. And then the sports side, and not at one point we were very close to make it happen. We had an amazing generation when I started, with some players like Iglitare, with some players Lala, Rakli playing in Germany, Lala in Germany, Bestikasi, Murati. We had a very, very good side, but not good enough like to make the difference. And then when we were able then to bring the Albanian players wherever they are all around the world, then it makes this step, this quality, with the coach, with what Gianni De Biasi worked it hard about bringing the best ones, and we make it. We did something good for the qualification of the World Cup 2014. And then we make it for the Euro 2016, when we had all the nation like looking after us and pushing us. We were through a very difficult group at that time, because like we had Portugal, which became the European champion, and they already, in all their journey, they only lost one game. It was against us, the first game of the qualification. We had Denmark, which is always qualified for the competition. We had Serbia, which is an amazing side, and we had Armenia, which is not in the lowest groups. It's not the most easier opponent. So when we had like the draw, like it was even more difficult than the other qualification we had. But I think we did well.
No, for
and
sure.
Then, for sure, being able to bring Albania for the first time in a major tournament was definitely something special.
No, it definitely was. And speaking of the draw as well, we saw what happened in Serbia and things like that. Something that we don't want to see. But do you think UEFA could have done something different in terms of understanding the history between the two nations? Do you think they could have just said, what, let's scrap that game and draw them into different groups?
No, that's the problem. The problem is like they kept it very, let's say, they kept it how it is written on the books, and it just says two countries that were involved in conflicts and wars for the very recent past cannot be drawn, or cannot be drawn in the same group. The problem is, officially, Albania and Serbia were never in conflicts for the last years. And they didn't get that specific side of Kosovo. And most of the players, half of the players playing for Albania are from Kosovo. And this specific geopolitical situation between Albania and Serbia, they didn't get. They just kept it like very official, Albania, Serbia, no conflict. And they thought like everything was going to be. They knew it's going to be a little bit tense. But in my opinion, it's a draw. Like it was better not to do it, because it's in the mind of people. It's still fresh. Like we have just one generation from the last conflict. Like we are in 20. It was not even 20 years ago. It was 15 years before. A lot of people has lost people. Even some of the people of the national team, and I think it wasn't a good idea at that time to make it to the same group. But then for us, like we were just focused on on football, and we knew like our side was getting strong and was getting much better. We had won that first game in Portugal. We had drew against Denmark. We were in very good situation. We were just focused absolutely on football, and we knew like in terms of quality, like we knew like Serbia had a better side than us. Like you see playing those players in the best club in the world. Like Serbia, actually, if Serbia with the player they have, Serbia must have been always in the top 8 worldwide. I mean, they must be in the top 10 with Croatia. They must be in the top 10 in the FIFA ranking and being qualified in every competition and going to the at least passing the group stage in terms of proper quality of the players. But we were really united, and we knew like we were going to do well. I mean, we were absolutely not afraid about, like in terms of football, not afraid about playing against any side. So, but then unfortunately, the situation, let's say, get bad, and we're just trying to make it in the best way. But this is definitely in sport. This is something you don't want to see. And in the second game in Albania, like everything went very smooth, and our people really understand the importance about giving the best image and not ruining our chances to go to the European, because we were very close about making it. So as I told you, we just try to be focused on football, and this is, I told you, this is the best ambassadors of any kind of countries, sports, music, art. As you can see, like as Albanians, we are some of the best females artists in the world. Like you are from UK, we have Dua Lipa, which is from Pristina, from Kosovo, as I am. We have Rita Ora, which is from Kosovo as well. And for us, like they break the border. They gave the best part of our nations. And as I told you, football is exactly the same.
No, for sure. And speaking of draws, so we've gone from one extreme to the other. We drew against Switzerland in our first opening game. Again, like most of the team is from Albanian Heritage. What was that like again, you know, that opening game? Out of all the teams that we could have got, we got Switzerland.
Yeah, that was, like, for me, like the draw was very special because I had Switzerland when I grew up, and with all these Albanian players, most of them, we know them, we are friends with them. I had France, the place where I become, because I have both nationalities. I'm French and I'm Albanian. I played Paris, Marseille, my family, all my friends are in France, lot of people I care of in France. So the game of France was in Marseille, when I played for many years, and it's my kind of second home. So it was special, and starting with Swiss, like we were not very happy about getting Switzerland, because like in all the games, the previous game against Switzerland, like we had some games where like they see like they are not much better than us, but they always beat us, and we were not so happy about it. Like it's not kind of opponent we really liked, because we always thought we are in the game, but at the end we were always losing by 1 goal, and wasn't. I think we could have a better draw than Switzerland. But the coach was my former coach in Lazio, Petkovic, and I think we prepared the game very well. We were very tense. I felt my teammates very nervous before the game, not because like people were like asking us much more to do. We wanted to do like much more and trying to go as far as we can in the competition, but like being there for the first time, for some of the players, they were very tense and very nervous. And it's so like in the first 10-15 minutes, like it was not the normal Albania we were seeing. We were not conceding a lot of goals. We conceded a goal after 10 minutes in the set pieces. And then we tried to be back on the game with a 0-1, and we were not the best team going after the result. Like most of the time we don't concede. We score first, and then it's very difficult for the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
But and then that minute 34, 35, I had booked for the second
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
when I had to make a choice, like a very difficult choice about or letting him like score because like he was on his own before the keeper.
Mm-hmm.
We were playing like challenging for that game. I slept and I had the difficult choice: stop the ball before it getting in the box, or maybe let him shoot and make it 2-0. And I had to choose. At that time, I preferred to stop the ball and maybe pray to the referee he didn't see it, or maybe he thought he pulled my shirt a little bit, so maybe give it a half foul for us. So I prefer to stop it ball and give us a chance to maybe even with 10 players to stay in the game and maybe to draw it by kind of organization and luck. And it's exactly what happened, because we had that huge opportunity at 3 minutes or 5 minutes to go with Gashi, and we didn't nearly made it, because I think if we drew that game, I think we with 4 points after we went through the group, because we beat it Romania in the last game. For me, it was tough because I was letting the team with 10 players, but this is a choice I made it in in quarter second. And it nearly went well. But I knew like I'm gonna miss after. I wasn't thinking at that time, but I knew if I get booked, I'm gonna miss the French game in Marseille as well. But at that time, it's not the most important. Most important is the team. And as I told you, even when we beat it Romania, we were pretty confident, like with 3 points, with the best third of the group,
place,
we're gonna make it through. But we were playing Group A. We were the first playing, and sorry, this is my wife calling me. And we were the first playing. Some of the other teams had to know what kind of results they would be happy to. So, but at the end, I think we had a good tournament. French beat us at the start. They scored after the 90th minute. We won against Romania, and I think we had an amazing journey. Our fans came with thousands in France. Everything went fantastically well, and I think we could have gone through the group. I think we deserved it to go through the group, but this is football. I think it's going to be for next time. Kosovo, then we have now the team of Kosovo, which has some huge talents.
Amazing players.
Of course, it makes it much difficult now for Albania, because the Albanians have 2 national teams representing the Albanians. It's split a little bit the strength between 2 of them, but I think Kosovo now through the Nations League have a good opportunity, and I think they can make it. They can make it as well.
No, for sure. You guys done us proud anyway, regardless of not being able to go into the next rounds, but. Just again, it was amazing to see the team and how hard you guys fought, for one another. Just a quick question: would you say that was like maybe the lowest moment of your career when you got sent off, or the hardest moment of your career? Because considering it was our first major tournament for the national team, would you say that was the hardest or toughest time in your career?
The hardest, I don't know. I think it was one of the most difficult, but as I told you, I was so much focused about like do whatever I can do for the team, and like being one of the leader of the team and being the captain of the team. Like then your personal, as I told you, your personal focus, your personal interest, all that thing goes like in second pole. Like the most important was the team, and I had even a major, let's say, role, because everyone was seeing how I'm react about not playing the game against France, but it gives you a little more responsibility about being even closer to them every day and pushing them there, giving them confidence, and trying to stay behind them and with the staff and with the coach, and like just giving us the best chance. And like my duty, of course, was on the pitch, but it was even out of the pitch, and I think that was the most important thing. And for sure, like missing the French game was something special, because it was in my second town, like Marseille, very related to France. But as I told you, like, you have an international duty,
Yeah.
and when you have an international duty, it's the international duty, and it's not your personal interest at the time. Like, this is something very important people understand. When you play for your club, you have this spirit of competition. You don't like to lose, but when you play with your country, you have your international, you have your national flag. That national flag carries hundreds and thousands of years of history of people, and then it's not just a shirt you wear on. I think a lot of people understand that. So that's why I think we did very well, and that's why I think the magic of sport and football, and we are very, let's say, lucky to being able to represent our country with that. And then you're doing it as a professional, like being one of the first Albanian players playing in the highest level, playing Champions League, Paris, Marseille, Galatasaray, Lazio, Nantes. It gives you that, like, the important about representing our country, or and being able to enjoy your football in the highest level. But the international duty, the national team, it's something else.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what's next for Lorik Cana? What have you got in the pipelines? Are you looking to get into coaching, managing? Will we see you in a touchline for Albania one day to become a manager? What's the plans?
But you've been asking me what was one of the most difficult time in my career, and the most difficult moment for me was when I had to stop playing football, because I stopped pretty young. Like, I stopped 1 month before turning, like, in this time 4 years ago. So I was not even 33, 1 month before turning 33, because of some health problems. Like, when you're a football player, you want to make it as far as you can if you're still fit and you think you can play in the highest level. So I was hoping to play until 35, 36. So I had these health issues when I couldn't play football anymore. And so I didn't have time to prepare after football very quickly. But I knew, like, I'm willing to stay in the world of sports. I have this project of the Lorik Cana Foundation, which is very important. I put it on the rail. I found the right people to help me manage it. We are, let's say, working so far in the last 3 years. We reached the number of 800 kids.
Wow.
Being able in the program of the Lorik Cana Foundation. So practicing sports every day with the foundation, and this is a journey which I think it's a long journey. It's going to follow me all my way. Staying in the world of football, I passed my first licenses until the UEFA A. I didn't go to the UEFA Pro because I'm not focused about starting a coach career. I'm gonna maybe focus more on the administration side about running a club, more as a director, or being in the advisory board, or someone running a club, more like being on the pitch. This is the way I want to follow. But for sure, when you are as much passionate about sport and football, you always want to be involved, and like, because I think a lot of people are dreaming. And I think we are very lucky, and if you are lucky to do, if you are your passion, I think you should stay in.
No, for sure, yeah. I'm sure whatever capacity that you'll get into, I'm sure you'll be very effective and touching people and changing people's lives. So looking forward to the next journey, to seeing what you're going to be doing, and the impact again with your foundation. I'm sure it's changing a lot of people's lives. So again, looking forward to the journey. But before we wrap it up, I just want to do a quick fire round question with you. So just quick questions. Who would you say is the best player you've played with?
Ronaldinho.
Okay, that was an easy one. That was quick. Ronaldinho, that's tough. Yeah, I can't really ask you more questions. What was he like in training?
Different world.
Yeah.
Different world. Like,
did he train hard, or was he just being himself?
Well, it depends on the mood.
Okay.
He came in Paris. I was just starting to train with the first team. I was 17. I made my first day with the first team, and he came in Paris. It was winter. He never saw the snow before, but he was just enjoying. When he was focused on performing, when he was fit, he didn't have too much weight on, because like Ronaldinho, sometimes he was overweighted, but when he was fit, he had that power, strength, technical quality. He was just different. Like he was unstoppable. He was amazing. Like kind of player, he could have like passed 2-3 players, give you the ball in a 30-40 meters ball, like right in your feet, turning direction, being able to make play your team on his own. And when you are a young kid starting the first step professional, being able to make your first professional games with Ronaldinho on the pitch, like it makes you learn very fast. And sometimes when I was with a young team or starting to play with the first team or train with the first team, I was like not in the starting 11, so I was playing against him. Marking him was like sometimes he gave me some backache because like it makes you turn in all the ways. But no, amazing was amazing to play. Very lucky to play with him.
So my next question was going to be, who's the toughest that you've played with or played against? Toughest player that you've played against?
Well, there was some. As a midfielder, I loved and was tough to play against Gerald.
Okay. Yeah.
Amazing midfielder, amazing guy, legend. As a centre back, Aguero was very tough to play against. When he was fit, say Anelka was very tough to play against. And lately, Higuain. Higuain, like Higuain Higuain with 5 kilos less is one of the top three forward in the world. But when he puts a little bit weight, you can feel it. So it's not as quick as it's. But Higuain, what he's on fire. Higuain is very tough. But I think these three.
Okay. If you had to pick someone to play you in a movie, who would you pick?
As a football player?
No, as an actor. If there was a film about you, which actor would you pick to play you in a movie?
Oh yeah. I don't know, Denzel Washington or Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Ooh, that's tough actors there. No, again, Lorik, thank you. I appreciate your time. I took it over the limit as well. I think I told you 30 minutes, but again, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Honestly, best of luck.
Timing is good because I'm running out of battery.
Oh, battery as well. No worries. Thank you, Lorik. Thank you very much. Shumfalim there.
Great pleasure. If I'm there,
Pleasure.
all the best.
Thank you.